We all can agree that Rapi Red Hood is probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest character that Shift Up has released over the last 2 years in the game. So let's talk a little bit about why she's so strong, how to build her. First off, like a day one review, some team compositions you can be running with her, some units that will make her always do better, and in general my first impression. So as usual, hello the internet, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Now if you prefer to read because you don't want to watch me jab for 8-10 minutes, whatever it is, right? Review on the website already, we'll check this in a second. Tier list updated as well. Now there is absolutely no doubt she needs to be at the top of the tier list. Yet another balance unit, right? It looks like the balance tier is only gonna be for pilgrims and now for other specs as well, which is funny. Now, I also want to talk about it a little bit because that is the only downside this character has, is that it's an overspec. The reason they made this overspec thing is to make more 1% banners, and I dislike that. That's like the only thing I dislike. Outside of that, she's perfect on absolutely everything. So let's talk a little bit about where you can be invested in her. If you want a TLDR on Rapi Red Hood, she's like an 8-10-10. I would go 10-10-10 if you can. I'm waiting for resources for my burst. The reason you want at least level 8, even though 7 works, but just like the Killer Wife and Rogue, for the cooldown reduction if you're using her as a support, so she can guarantee proper rotations in there. That's like the only thing, right? So 8 plus 10-10. You want to go 10-10-10, yet another character, you cannot be like Alice or Scarlet. I hope Shift Up goes back to releasing units that we don't need to take all of these skills up, because once again, they are designing the characters this way, so you cannot leave skills at level 4 and then be like, oh, this is enough investment, like normal Scarlet, like Alice, right? You no longer can do this with new characters. You have to go all in. So that's like the only thing. Bastion, if you have enough max ammunition capacity. Resilience, if not for the cube. I'm using Resilience because I got 4 elemental, but low rolls and only 1 max ammunition capacity. So even though I got lucky with elemental, because I had to reroll that now, my max ammo wasn't that good, so I'm running Resilience. If you don't have a lot of max ammo, Resilience. With max ammo, Bastion is gonna be better almost on every situation, like most machine guns, right? And then when it comes to the stats, this is yet another basic beach character. Elemental, max ammo attack, that's her priority, nothing else. The crit can be a filler, hit rate can be completely ignored because machine guns are already hitting with the utmost accuracy, if you will, right? So you don't need that after you ramp up. Before you ramp up, it does take time. So that's a TLDR. Let's go a little bit over the skills and why we're leveling everything up to level 10, because her whole kit is fantastic, right? So when it comes to the skill 1, this is the if she's a B1 or a B3, which by the way, that's also one of like her biggest pros, right? We're talking about the character that on element, and she has 2 elements, on element, she can be used as a B3, and off element, you can put it as a B1, and it's still the best B1 in the game. This is the best B1 and the best B3 in the game, which is stupid, but it is what it is. So her skill 1 will make her a B1 or a B3, depending what your team composition is. If she's a B1, she provides cooldown reduction and attack damage, fantastic. And if she is a B3, on Fell Burst for herself, she will give herself a 95% attack and damage to QTEs, increased by 48%, which is huge. Then we have the attachable projectiles. Now, the attachable projectiles are hitting like a truck. Even without them, she is hitting already like pretty decently. But the attachable projectiles is what's making her get to these numbers, right? 2.9 here, 2.4. She's hitting stronger, and you probably already saw this, than most characters in the game. Now, you've seen probably some discrepancies between people when we were showing this. For example, my Red Hood, if I put her against Rapi, my Rapi is doing a lot better. But then if I go into like a 4 elemental on both characters and a core 7 on both characters, it is a lot more equalized, right? Still, Rapi Red Hood is, in my opinion, better than Red Hood, but both are really versatile characters. It's just a matter of what you prefer. So her attachables are a must, in my opinion, to take to level 10. Some people are saying that this could be a level 7, and I could agree. It also depends on how many resources you have right now. If you have to pick between her burst and her skill 2, only one to level 10, I would go with the burst. But I think both have the same priority, because how much damage you're doing with the attachables, right? These are being thrown every 120 bullets, which, as you all know, this is tied to your FPSs. So good luck with that if you're playing on your phone, right? It's not 60 bullets per second as a machine gun, it's 30. So this is tied to your FPS. But overall, it's gonna be like every 2 seconds, you're gonna be throwing one of these projectiles. On burst, she also reduced this to 60, so 1 per second. Really good skill. And then her burst skill, it's literally a nuke. It's almost 3k at level 10, right? Like a 2.8, I believe it is. 2800% of final attack as additional damage, which is even better. And then she's also changing how the attachables work and making it proc faster, and also reducing the condition for that. Which is pretty good because this is like Sameranis or Christmas Maiden, where a lot of the damage is coming from these skills, but now this is a lot more consistent than, for example, Sameranis, which is only on her burst, where you see most of the damage coming from, right? In here is constant damage, and her burst is another nuke, giving her even more damage. So all in all, the skills, all of them, you want to go as high as possible. It is expensive, I know that. Remember that you can do overclock if you want more resources. I'm personally skipping overclock. I just don't care about the game mode. I can't bother with something I don't like, right? If I don't like something, I'm not gonna be doing it. Now let's talk about team compositions, because some characters will clearly make her do a lot better than others, and that's the case for Fire when it comes to Asuka. Asuka is a character that will be increasing her damage deal to cores on her skill 2 here by 51% at level 7, so you can even get this higher if you wanted to. I'm the one investing her. I don't like Asuka, so for me it's 777. But this will make her, when there is core, right, do a lot more damage. As you can see, with an Alice or with an Asuka, by the way, ignore Alice damage. She's on auto. I was being lazy just to show the difference between Asuka or no Asuka, okay? So 2.9 billion versus 2.4 billion. That's a huge difference, and you can use Asuka as an off burst. Now, would you use Asuka as an off burst rather than just having something else for iron damage if it's an iron instead of fire team? It depends on the compositions, it depends on the rate of what we're doing, right? But overall, she's gonna be paid with Asuka for a lot of the content, because that 51% increased damage to cores, it's no joke. Like, that's like saying, you know, can you run SBS without Alice? Yes, but the extra damage you're getting, it's pretty huge, right? So it's the same. Now, I don't think it's the same as SBS Alice. Like, it's not like a must to pair them together, but if we're talking about elemental content, it makes sense, right? It does make sense to bring her, even for iron, because this also will increase the damage Rapi is doing to electric enemies, since she has like this double elemental bullshit going on, right? Now, outside of Asuka per se, there is nothing that she is like mandatory to have or something that she will really benefit from outside the usual characters, right? The only thing to remember is that if she's not on elemental advantage, I would personally run her as a B1 instead of a B3, right? Because you benefit more from those really fast rotations. The other character that's pretty funny to pair her with, also Fire, is going to be Grave. The rotations with Grave and Rapi are crazy. Rapi as a B1 and then Grave as a B2, and you just go from rotation to rotation constantly. It's really, really cool. I assume Shift Up will make in the future characters that also interact with these attachables on skill 2. I'm not so sure about that, so we'll see over time, right? That said though, on the website, I also put a couple extra pros and cons, which is mostly the con, like I was saying earlier, right? It's just overspec is a stupid idea. This is just for Shift Up to make more 1% banners. No other reason, right? Like, no other reason. Now, he's also the first overspec and the face of the game, so Shift Up had to make sure she's good, and she delivers. This is the best character of the game. In my opinion, you should go get one copy 100%. Like, absolutely, there is no reason to skip this unit. You're not breaking your account, but you should be getting one character. If you go for dupes, I will always say the same, okay? If you have to ask if you need dupes, you do not need them, right? You don't need the dupes if you need to ask someone else. Competitive players will get the dupes. People who are below the 160 need the dupes. If you are not any of those two, right, past the 160 and not competitive, you don't need them. Personally, I got one. I did a few more multis, got nothing. I'm not gonna be ticketing because tickets are way too important, for me at least, when it comes to collabs or limited characters, to be used on just a meta character, for me personally. The other pros are that Shift Up went all in, right? You can use her on both Pilgrim and Elysian Tower. She's gonna help a lot of new players and people who were stuck on Elysian. Elysian finally getting a carry. She can be used on both fire and iron content, so not only 2 towers, but also on 2 different elemental advantages. And when you're not using it on her element, she is the best B1 in the game. Like, this is stupid. Like, we're talking about the best B3 and the best B1, right? And you can pick where to use her depending on the situation. And then her burst is a huge nuke with almost 3k of final attack and damage. And her projectiles, just like Sameranis, just like Christmas Maiden, are crazy. They're doing really good damage. And it looks like Shift Up is doing a lot more of this type of character, which I don't dislike. I think they are pretty good. And I like them, and it's been good fan service as well so far, so why not? And the other only downside of this update is going to be, of course, the Naga skin, right? The new Naga skin is 60 bucks, but that's a topic for another day we could leave. Do you guys think the gacha skins are good or not? That's it though. That's gonna be like the first day one review or first impression. I'll probably make another video in a few days just talking a little bit more in depth about her skills and more findings, but that's gonna be for this one. That's it. Hope you have a great New Year, bossos. I spent mine here drinking with you and playing with the doggos. They are there. I don't know where my cat is, somewhere around there playing in the house. That's it. That's gonna be it for this one. Happy New Year. Love you all, bossos. Good luck with your pool the internet. I'll see you on the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。